Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another episode. Today, I'm going to try and help some of you get more interview offers because I think it's really important. I think this can be the most frustrating part when you're actually getting shortlisted on a regular basis and you're going for interviews, but you are not getting any offers. So let's talk about it, because one of my clients came to me and she'd been getting interviews, but she wasn't getting offers. So she had said to me it was because she was struggling with her experience. She didn't think her experience was enough. And you guys know, anyone who's been listening for a while, my attitude to this is always, they would not shortlist you if your experience wasn't enough. If they give you that excuse after interview, it's just because what you had on paper, you didn't show them enough of it in the interview. So what you told them on your CV, they didn't see enough of it. So now they're saying to you, oh, you don't have enough experience. It's not that. You just weren't able to explain why the experience that you had was good enough for them or why it mattered to them. Because your experience is always good enough. It's just that you got to explain and connect the dots. So in this job market, I would say that a lot of people just want to book more interviews. They're like, oh, they come to me and they're like, I just want to book loads more interviews. Like, if I could book more interviews, I would definitely have a job by now. And my thing is, booking more interviews is all well and good, but zero out of 100 is still going to be 0 out of 100. Like, whether you do 2 interviews and you get no offers, or whether you have 100 interviews and get no offers, it's the same result. So actually, I don't think we should be working on booking more interviews. And that's what I say to all my clients. I actually think you should be working on converting more of the ones that you do have. So if you've had 3 interviews, but you've had 0 offers, that's what we're going to work on. Because if you had 2 offers out of those 3, you'd probably have a job by now. You'd be happy. Like, you'd have the job you wanted. Because hopefully you're interviewing at places that you really are interested in. And let's say out of those 3, one of them you were like, absolutely not. But then you got 2 offers. Say one of those offers was the place that you were absolutely not. But then the other one was one that you liked. Do you see? So actually, your job is to work on conversion. Because the issue is conversion. It's not the amount of interviews you book. Who even wants to go on all them interviews? Because one company wants to see you like 3 or 4 times these days. Now imagine you book 10 interviews. And then all want to see you 4 times. That's 40 interviews. Even if they all want to see you 3 times, that's 30 interviews. You have got patience. Anyone listening who feels like they would rather go to 30 interviews than go to 2 and convert those 2 to offers, my hat's off to you, because I couldn't do it. I want to go on as few interviews as possible. I want to go on quality interviews over quantity, and I want to convert them as often as I can. I am not saying it's going to be 100% conversion rate, but I'm saying it's going to be pretty damn close. Let's work on 90% at least. Why can't we have a 90% conversion? Why can't we have 100% conversion? Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I have 100% conversion on interviews. Like, don't play with me. But at the same time, if I didn't get an offer for a role, which has happened to me, 100% happened to me in the past, I've spoken about it before. But if I didn't get an offer, I want to feel comfortable that that's rare for me. I want that to feel rare. I want it to feel like, oh, that doesn't really happen that often. Like, most of the time, if I book an interview, I'm going to get the job. Like, I'm going to at least book a second interview and I'm going to get the last offer. I just am in my head. So firstly, there's an attitude behind it. Of course, you have to have a belief in yourself and you have to show it with that belief, because I believe that everyone wants to hire me. So because I believe that everyone wants to hire me, usually they do. Because remember, I've told you before, whatever you believe is real is real. However, on top of my belief, I back up my belief with being able to story tell in an interview. And that's what this episode is about. I've gone a long way around telling you that this episode is about storytelling. Why is storytelling so successful? You tell me, guys, because you guys help creators, TikToks and Instagrams blow up because they storytell. So you tell me, why is storytelling such a big thing? I think it's because as a society, we're nosy. We like to know other people's business. And storytelling is captivating. It's interesting. As kids, what do? Our parents read us stories. Being able to imagine something and visualize it in your head is always fun. Interviews are really no different. Like, it's about telling a story. Because let's be honest, these people don't know you. that you're selling potential and they're buying into your potential. They have no idea if you're going to be any good at the role. But if you can story tell and get them hooked, that's where it begins. I want you to go into your next interview and in your head be like, story time. Because storytelling is the most powerful thing. I've had people say to me, my interview wasn't that great, Adele, but my storytelling was on point. And guess what? I got the offer. Of course you did. Of course you did. Because you know how to story tell. If you want the interviews to turn into offers, that's what you need to do. They need to be able to literally picture you in the job. So when you story tell and you tell them like, oh, in my last job or previously I worked at a blah, blah, blah. And you don't have to ever give names in your stories, just like they do on social media where they like change the names or they say X or what. You don't need to say names. You shouldn't be saying names. You talk about people with their job title. So you can say, I worked with like 4 other team members. At the time, my company was struggling to, whatever it is, talk about what they were struggling with. So what I thought would be a really good idea is if we tried XYZ. So my boss gave me the opportunity to go and try it. I tried it for about 3 weeks. And actually what happened was I realized that this part didn't work, but the other part did. We were able to then use that part. Do you see? I'm telling a story and I'm not even actually telling a story because I'm not giving you any detail, but you would be giving actual detail. It helps them to picture you in the job because they're now like, oh, okay, yeah, our team would be really responsive to that. That's what they're thinking in their mind. They're like, oh, should be able to work with this person. That would be really good. You can talk about like, when you're talking about the story, you'll be like, well, because I'm naturally a problem solver, I looked at X, Y, Z. They're now going to be thinking, oh, okay, because I'm a really good communicator. It was really easy for me to go to the senior stakeholders and get their buy-in. Now they're like, okay, so she has influential skills, but they're able to see it because they're like, oh, do you know what? We need someone who can do influencing. Because at the moment, like, we really struggle to get seniors buy-in, but she's telling us that she can do that. And she's given us an example. The storytelling helps them to picture you in the role. It also helps them feel like the evidence is real. When someone says, oh, I'm really good at basketball, listen, that's all well and good, but I ain't seen you do it, so I don't know if it's true. But when you start telling stories about all your moves that you can do and how you really understand the game, that makes it sound more realistic. Because it makes it sound like you're telling the truth because you know what you're talking about. And some people are just really good at lying. Some people are really good at blagging their way into things. But guess what? They're the people that get the jobs. The ones with the gift of the gab, the ones that are talking and telling the story and being like, yeah, in my last job, I made 70K for the boss by doing X, Y, Z. Listen, either the story's going to impress them or they're going to be like, there is no way this is true. But unless I give you the job, how will I know? I wouldn't imagine it is true and I let this person go. I got offered a job once because 3 questions into the interview or 4 questions in, can't remember, but it was only a few questions. She was like, I'm going to stop the interview here. And I was horrified because I was like, what do you mean stop the interview? Why would you stop the interview? Like, what? I've been answering really well. What is she talking about? Obviously, I started to panic. She was like, you are answering these questions perfectly. Like, you've already answered 3 questions ahead. Like, some of your answers have contained answers that are going to be for the next question. I feel like you know exactly what to say. And either you're really good at blagging or you're great at the job. But unless I offer you, how would I know? She goes, I'm going to call you later with an offer, but let me think about what I'm going to offer you and I'll come back to you. And I got an offer. And that ended up being one of my favorite jobs. However, do you see what I'm talking about? The storytelling from the jump. She felt like she was like, nah, you know all the answers. What's the point of me asking you any more questions? I'm tired. She was tired after 3 or 4 questions because she was like, this girl knows all the answers. But it was because I was also storytelling. So it was believable. My answers were believable because I knew what I was talking about, but I was also giving examples of situations that related to that thing. When I changed industry, when I left teaching and moved into recruitment, I had to convince someone that my teaching experience was going to be valuable in a recruitment office. Bearing in mind, I was working with children, I was teaching children, I worked with parents, I worked with do you know what I mean? Social services, all these different bodies, but I had to convince them that I would be great with their customers. Guess how I did that? I spoke about how I've had to work with social services, how I've had to work with Ofsted, how I've had to work with parents that can be super challenging, especially when you've got to tell them something negative. I explained to them that I am great at turning a negative into a positive, and I gave a situation where it had happened. I also explained how my school was one of the most expensive schools in the area. My nursery was a really expensive nursery. So when I was showing parents around, parents wanted to know why we cost so much versus the nursery down the road. So I had to explain to them why. I had to show them around. I had to explain the quality of my staffing, the quality of the food we give the children, the quality of the teaching, how long I've been doing this, what like amazing results I've gotten for children, like children that maybe have speech issues and just all this stuff. Guess what? I was storytelling. And in recruitment, she was like, oh, okay, yeah, we have challenging customers as well here. Because you've not done this before, how do you think you would deal with it? And I was like, well, when I worked as a nursery manager, I'd never done it before either, but I was able to do X, Y, Z. I think I was able to pay attention to previous managers, pay attention to other things. And also I have a natural rapport with people. People genuinely like me. So I'm able to use that to my advantage. I'm quite smiley and I'm quite happy. And that alone helps people feel calm around me. It's really hard to shout at someone who's very happy, smiley, and a calm person. It makes you feel silly the more you shout at them. And the person interviewing me was like, that's very true. And since you've been here, you are quite smiley. Listen, storytelling. I was trying to convince someone that me being a teacher was going to somehow translate into recruitment and make them money. Why? A story told. I used stories from my past that I knew connected my skill set to what they were looking for. They need someone who can deal with customers. They need someone who can do sales. As far as I was concerned, me convincing a parent to come to our school when it costs more versus go to the one up the road, that's sales. So I needed to storytell and connect the dots. Storytelling helps you connect the dots because you can be like, the more of a story you tell, the detail is where you can be like, well, obviously I was converting these people. They could have gone to 2, 3 nurseries up the road that were only charging like £100 where we were charging 250. And I used actual amounts. And it definitely wasn't 250, guys, because nurseries are about £1,000 a month. But I would be like, at that time, I think they were about 800. I'd be like, we were charging like £850 a month. The nursery up the road is charging 600. So I'm having to show parents why we're the better option. And I understand that in recruitment, you would be selling your services to companies and saying to them, like, if we help you find these staff, you're going to have to pay us 25%. I'm going to be able to convince them why they should pay us the 25% and why we've got the quality staff. See how I was able to storytell and connect the dot? Because you've got to remember, I had researched recruitment, so I had knowledge on it. That's the other thing. Make sure you're researching. Because as much as you can storytell, you can't connect the dots if you haven't researched the role that you're going for. You have to make sure that you can storytell and make sure they're relevant and they connect with each other. So, like I said, storytelling helps them see you doing the role. It makes them think of how you'll interact with their team, what your personality is like. It makes them visualize you in the job. The more they can visualize you in the job throughout the interview, the more they're going to subconsciously want to offer you the job because they've already pictured you doing it. It also helps everything you're saying, it helps you back it up. It makes them feel like you're telling the truth. Because remember, they don't know if you really saved your company 10K last month. But if you story tell how you saved that 10K, it makes it feel like, oh, that's evidence. That's the truth. It makes it feel more believable. So you need to do that. Painting a picture for them is what's the most important thing, because they literally will be able to see and think about you interacting with their team, interacting with their customers. That's what storytelling does. Storytelling also is your opportunity to drop some metrics in there, to drop some big numbers in there and show them all the great things you've done. Storytelling is how you show them how you've improved processes. What processes have you improved? You can say, oh, I've improved like 3 or 4 processes in my company. Or you can say, I improved this process by doing this. And I think if I came here, I know that you're looking for someone to be able to do this. I'd be able to do that. Does that make sense? Like, tell the story. Like I've said, if I was going for if I was going for a payroll job, I helped improve our payroll process. Our payroll process used to take like 4 days. It was ridiculous. We had all these different spreadsheets because it was a small company. So they didn't have like big software. But first things first, I realized that some of the software we did have was able to pick up the slack and do some of the things that we were asking the spreadsheets to do. Unnecessary. Also, if the spreadsheets had formulas in them, it wouldn't have taken so long. People wouldn't have to have been doing this thing manually on a computer, like on a calculator. Why are we not using formulas? So I created some formulas. Listen, a lot of this was because I was lazy and I didn't like doing payroll. And the only reason I was doing payroll was because I was a senior manager and I had to make sure people got paid. I hated doing payroll, but I wanted to find the quickest and easiest way to do it. So when I'm in an interview, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how, because I wanted to make sure payroll was done so I had time to go and do other parts of my job, I ensured that there were formulas so we no longer had to manually calculate things. Literally, I broke down the process of what I do, and then I'll be like, and I know in this current office, even though I won't be doing payroll, I will be having to deal with a lot of operational processes. That's just one example of how I look at a process, I step back, I look at it, and I see where it can be improved. A couple of other processes that I've also improved are when I first started at a company, they were still printing CVs. And I was like to them, why are we printing CVs? So I taught all the staff how to look at CVs, not just online, but look at them quickly so we could improve our shortlisting time. So we weren't taking 3 or 4 days to get back to people. Because if we take 3 or 4 days, other companies have already contacted them, they're already booked in for interview. And when people are booked in for 2, 3 interviews, they sometimes want to wait until they've done those before they book in with you because you've taken so long to call them up. So actually, we want to be calling people quicker. So we want to be reviewing CVs quickly. As soon as you open it, you should review it immediately and decide if it goes into your yes, no, or maybe part. If there are more than one person reviewing a CV, then what I did was I decided to make one person review the CVs, the other person do the calls and book the person in. That really increased productivity. Do you see? Now I can talk about how that would help them. So I'm talking about all the different processes I have improved on, but I'm giving actual examples, not just saying, oh, I've improved a process before. Okay, that's nice. What process did you improve? How can I help see you in our role? How do I know that you're going to be able to do it? Storytelling is honestly for the win. I promise you, storytelling is what is going to help you at interview. How well can you storytell? Also, how well can you storytell about yourself? So talking about, that question, tell me about yourself. Oh, that is a storytelling gold mine. Like they want to know who you are is going to help them. So tell them your story. How did you get here? Like me, I'm going to tell you my story about I was in childcare. Like I was in childcare. And I realized I was good at sales because I was the one who was helping to get customers, get the parents to want to come to our school, even though we were the most expensive school in the area. Like I was the one doing that. They all knew that anytime a parent walked around with me, they would sign up. It was just a known fact. Even my boss knew that before I became the manager. When I was the assistant manager, everyone knew they would always make me do the show rounds because when I showed people around, they would sign on the dotted line because I'm very thorough. I'm very friendly. I ask people questions so that I can alleviate any of their fears. I want to always know what their potential doubts are so I can help talk them through it. Like, I'm going to story tell, yeah, but I'm going to tell them about myself. So I'm like, this is who I am. I worked in childcare. Then I realized I was good at sales. After moving into sales, the key things that I realized was that I'm very customers really like me. I'm super good at communicating. I'm super good at making people feel comfortable. So that is what's led me to here because wanting to be in a role that's very customer facing, very client facing, being able to speak to stakeholders, whether at every level, but being able to talk to senior VPs is just something I'm able to do. I'm able to bring to the table the roles that we're working on and explain why they're important. I'm able to support with benchmarking to ensure that we're competitive within the market and that we get the top talent. Because sometimes you'll have a team of 4 people that you didn't need. When if you just had a team of 2 exceptionally good staff, you would save money but get better output. So I could be talking about all those things, but what I'm saying is I'm talking about who I am. So who I was in my past, who I am in my present, and who I'll be to them in the future. So part of tell me about yourself is this is who I was, this is how it got me to here. And in the future, this is how it's going to help you guys. I believe all those qualities are going to help me support you guys in driving your marketing, in driving your sales, in improving your organization and your operations. Because operationally, when everyone works in silos, it doesn't work. So if you can introduce a way of working that everyone has got the same common goal, it is a lot more helpful. But do you see, I'm storytelling. Who am I? Adele is a good communicator. She's a problem solver. She used to work in teaching. Actually, being a teacher is what's helped me be able to manage teams. So even if I come to your company and I come in as a manager, because that's always a concern. When you go in as a leader into a company and you've not worked your way up in that company, the staff sometimes don't like it. So being able to talk about, because of who I am, that's not going to be an issue because people like me in general. And also, because I used to be a teacher, I have to know how to lead. I've taught children and I've taught adults. See, so I'll talk about my time when I was teaching CPR, when I was teaching training. I'm going to story tell because it's interesting. You're now interesting because now the interview is like, oh, you used to teach CPR? Yeah, I did. Oh, okay. How long did you do that for? Right. Now you're interested. I'm reeling you in with my story. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys to do. Storytell. Stop trying to answer interview questions like a robot and think about when they're asking you the question, think about, okay, when have I done this before? And tell a story. Oh, I do this all the time on a daily basis. Like, we always have to do X, Y, Z because customers come in and they're always on 100. They're always annoyed because I work in the complaints department. So I've always got to diffuse situations on a daily basis. I could be working with up to 5 to 10 people a day. If you work in retail, I know that's double that amount because you might be dealing with 30 angry customers a day, especially if you work in the complaints department. So talking about it, storytell, reel the people in, get the offers. This is the only way you're going to reel the people in is with storytelling. So I hope that's helped. For anyone who's got interviews coming up, storytell. For anyone who doesn't know, I did a masterclass. I think it was June or July, end of June. Did an updated masterclass on my interviewing. It's not up on my website yet. I am going to put it up there. It's just been busy, guys. I took the whole summer off to chill. So it's just been busy. All the posts you usually see of me over summer, they were I wrote them previously and I scheduled them to go out. So while you're thinking that I'm posting all the time, no, I was chilling. So because of that, guys, I haven't been able to put it up on the website. But if you want to get access to my Get Hired Part 2, it's not really Part 2. It's just reloaded for 2024. I updated. I talked about all the things you need to do to navigate this job market. I gave really good examples. It's like an hour and a half masterclass. If you want access to that masterclass, reach out to me or wait a couple of weeks and it'll be on my website and you'll be able to purchase it. But yeah, storytelling for the win, guys. I hope this episode has helped. If it has, I want you to share it. I want you to like it. I want you to drop me a review. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Also, let me know what else you want help with. What other podcast episodes could I give you guys to help you with? If you want to work with me, reach out. You can either join my Create Your Own Lane in the new year when we get started in January, or if you want to do a one-off session with me, feel free. But first, book yourself a free call so you can figure out how working together would work, whether we're a good fit or not, and whether or not you need my help. Because sometimes people get on a call and I'm like, you don't need my help. It's rare, but it happens. So jump on a call, book a call, head over to my website, or go down in the show notes and click the link to book yourself a call with me. Anyway, I will speak to you in the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening and see you next time.